Thinking about getting back with your ex? Look, I get it. You had something special, and it's natural to miss that. But before you dive headfirst back into that pool, let's talk about why that might be a risky move. In this video, we're gonna dig deep into 6 reasons why getting back with your ex might not be the best idea. We'll uncover the potential pitfalls, the emotional baggage you might be dragging back, and why sometimes it's healthier to move on. Let's talk about unresolved issues. You gotta ask yourself, what broke you up in the first place? Were there fundamental differences that were never truly resolved? See, those issues, they don't just magically disappear because you miss each other. In fact, they often resurface, sometimes even stronger than before. You start thinking maybe things will be different this time, but often history just repeats itself. And let me tell you, that's a recipe for disaster. You end up right back where you started, heartbroken and feeling like you wasted your time. We're creatures of habit, folks. We often find comfort in the familiar, even if the familiar isn't always good for us. It's like a well-worn path in the forest. We know where it leads, and that predictability can be soothing. But sometimes that path leads us right back to where we started, and not always in a good way. We tend to fall back into old patterns, even if those patterns are unhealthy. It's a cycle that's hard to break because it feels so ingrained in us. We might tell ourselves that this time will be different, that we've learned from our past mistakes. But more often than not, we find ourselves repeating the same behaviors, the same arguments, and the same disappointments. When you get back with an ex, there's a high chance you'll fall right back into those same old roles, those same old arguments. It's like a script that you both know by heart, and no matter how much you want to change the ending, you end up performing the same scenes over and over again. The familiarity of it all can be deceiving, making you think that maybe this time things will be different. It's like putting on a pair of shoes that were too tight the first time. You remember the discomfort, the blisters, the pain, but you convince yourself that maybe your feet have changed, or maybe the shoes have stretched. You tell yourself that you can make it work this time, that the fit will be better. You remember they hurt your feet, but you convince yourself you can make it work this time. You think that with a little effort, a little patience, you can break them in. But deep down, you know that those shoes are still the same, and your feet haven't changed that much. The pain is inevitable, and yet you persist. But let me tell you, those shoes are still gonna pinch. No matter how much you want them to fit, no matter how much you try to convince yourself otherwise, the reality is that they are not right for you. The discomfort will return, and you'll find yourself in the same situation, wondering why you thought it would be different this time. You're setting yourself up for the same heartache all over again. It's a painful realization, but an important one. Recognizing these patterns is the first step towards breaking them. It's about understanding that some things, no matter how much we want them to, just don't change. And sometimes, the best thing we can do for ourselves is to walk away, to find a new path, and to break free from the cycle of repeating past mistakes. Breakups are tough. They're emotionally draining, and they take time to heal from. When you get back with an ex, you're essentially ripping open those old wounds before they've had a chance to fully heal. You're putting yourself at risk for another round of heartbreak, another emotional roller coaster you may not be ready for. And trust me, the second time around can hurt even worse than the first. You're not only dealing with the pain of the initial breakup, but also the disappointment of the relationship failing again. Chapter 4. Impact on personal growth. Breakups, as painful as they are, can be incredible opportunities for growth. They force us to look inward, to reflect on our lives, and to understand our own needs and desires more deeply. When you're forced to confront the end of a relationship, you learn a lot about yourself. You start to see your own patterns, your strengths, and your weaknesses. You begin to understand what truly makes you happy and what doesn't. You gain clarity about what you want and don't want in a partner. This self-awareness is crucial for your personal development. It helps you set better boundaries and make healthier choices in the future. Getting back with an ex can stunt that growth. It can be tempting to return to the familiar, but doing so often means you're not allowing yourself to fully heal and move forward. It can prevent you from truly moving on and discovering who you are outside of that relationship. Embracing the unknown and stepping out of your comfort zone can lead to incredible personal transformation. It's like hitting the pause button on your personal evolution. You might feel stuck, unable to progress and grow as an individual. This stagnation can be detrimental to your overall well-being. You deserve to be with someone who celebrates your growth, who encourages you to be the best version of yourself. A partner who supports your dreams and aspirations is invaluable, not someone who holds you back. It's important to recognize when a relationship is no longer serving your growth and to have the courage to let go. By doing so, you open yourself up to new possibilities and experiences that can enrich your life in ways you never imagined. Personal growth often comes from stepping out of your comfort zone and trying new things. Whether it's picking up a new hobby, traveling to a new place, or simply spending time alone, these experiences can help you discover new facets of yourself. Setting goals and working towards them can also be incredibly empowering. It gives you a sense of purpose and direction, helping you to stay focused on your personal development journey. Remember, personal growth is a continuous process. It's about constantly evolving and becoming the best version of yourself. Embrace the journey and don't be afraid to let go of anything or anyone that no longer serves your growth. You have the power to shape your own destiny. By focusing on your personal growth, you can create a life that is fulfilling and meaningful. So take that first step and embrace the incredible journey of self-discovery and growth. Chapter 5. Trust Issues. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Once that trust is broken, it can be incredibly difficult to rebuild. If the breakup involved infidelity, betrayal, or constant dishonesty, those trust issues will likely resurface. You might find yourself constantly questioning their motives, doubting their words, and living with a lingering sense of insecurity. That kind of toxic energy can poison a relationship from the inside out. It creates an environment of suspicion and resentment, making it nearly impossible to build a healthy, loving partnership. Chapter 6. The reason for breakup. Before you even entertain the idea of getting back together, you need to take a long, hard look at why you broke up in the first place. Breakups are rarely simple, and the reasons behind them can be complex and multifaceted. It's essential to understand these reasons fully to avoid repeating the same mistakes. Were there fundamental differences in your values or life goals? Sometimes couples find that their visions for the future are incompatible. One might want to travel the world while the other prefers to settle down in one place. These differences can create significant tension and lead to a breakup. Were there patterns of toxic behavior that couldn't be broken? Toxic behaviors, such as constant criticism, lack of trust, or emotional manipulation, can erode the foundation of any relationship. If these patterns were present, it's crucial to recognize them and understand their impact. If the core issues that led to the breakup haven't been addressed and resolved, then getting back together is like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It's a temporary fix that doesn't address the deeper issues. You might feel a momentary relief, but the underlying problems will resurface. It might seem like a quick fix, but it's not going to solve the underlying problem. Reconciliation without resolution is a recipe for future heartbreak. It's essential to have open and honest conversations about what went wrong and what needs to change. You're just delaying the inevitable and setting yourself up for more pain down the road. It's better to face the issues head-on and decide if they can be genuinely resolved. If not, it might be healthier to move on and find happiness elsewhere. Remember, understanding the reason for the breakup is the first step towards healing and making better choices in the future. Outro Think Long and Hard. Look, I know it's tempting to go back to what's familiar, especially when you're feeling lonely or vulnerable. But remember, getting back with an ex is a gamble, and it's one you should only take if you're fully aware of the risks. Before you jump back into that relationship, ask yourself, have the issues that led to the breakup truly been resolved? Can you rebuild trust and move forward without repeating past mistakes? Your emotional well-being and your future happiness are at stake.